Hey guys, Living Visionary here. Today I want to talk about the Arc of a Scythe because I finished it a while ago, but I just wanted to make a review on it now. And as I was making the bullet points for the review, I realized that this wasn't really going to be a review for it. I realized this was just going to turn into a me ranting about how much I hated the toll. So yeah, spoilers, like really big spoilers, like end of series spoilers. If you don't care, then you can stick around or whatever. But if you didn't read it and you actually do care about it, then I recommend that you read it or don't. I don't really care. But you know, you should watch this video anyway. Alright, just for the people who basically either don't remember or just didn't read it, here's something to catch you up on its entire world. Neil Shusterman made an entire world of Arc of the Scythe where essentially everything's perfect, where crime rates drop, there's no more war, the poor have shelter and food. Basically, the world is perfect, absolutely perfect. Everything you could possibly want in the world, that's this world. And it got so perfect to the point where they even solved death. Humans have unlocked technology to become immortal. Like, really immortal. But the problem with that is the fact that since no one dies, it means that the population is basically growing out of control. So in order to control the population, they actually have a very they have a way to like, you know, stop the curve, to basically make it all controlled. And the way they do that is by having an entire group of people called Scythes to go out and randomly murder people out on the streets. It's foolproof. I thought it was a very simple but yet unique concept, and I honestly was curious to see where he would go with this. I also really liked the setting. I thought it was very realistic for a utopian society besides the entire immortal thing. I thought that that's basically where the world could head. I thought that was a very realistic setting, like a realistic point that we could all really reach. Alright, so let's break down characters. First we're going to be talking about Citra. Citra was cool in the beginning. I actually really liked her character at first. In the first book, her only motivation to become a Scythe is to simply get immunity for her brother so that he doesn't get gleaned, which is, you know, that's fine for right there. In book 2, she finally becomes Scythe Anastasia. Or I guess at the ending of book 1 she becomes Scythe Anastasia, but by book 2 we really get to see what that actually means. And her motivation kind of switches at that point, where at that point now the only thing she cares about is Rowan, and also trying to become the best Scythe she could possibly be. And I really care about the latter. Not too much about Rowan, I don't care about the other stuff, but I definitely do care about the fact of her trying to rise throughout the ranks and basically becoming just becoming a really good Scythe. And by being a good Scythe, she wants to turn everything back to how it used to be. Basically, she wants the new order of Scythes, who are like basically evil, to go away, and she wants the old order of Scythes to come back. And she just tries to make the Scythe better than what it ever was. By book 3, her motivations skyrocket. Basically, those same ones, they are heightened, except the only difference now is that she wants to kill Goddard. The reason she wants to kill Goddard is because he basically sunk all of Endura. He basically was the reason why her mentor died, and he's basically trapped them all the way at the bottom of the sea for like 3 years. And you know, that of course gets her pissed off. So she basically the entire time she just wants to do everything in her power to stop him. And you think that because of all that she would do everything in her power to stop him. But where this character fails at is the ending of Toll, where essentially she doesn't do that. She decides to run away with her undeveloped boyfriend and go in outer space to leave because she doesn't feel like dealing with him anymore. I really hated this. The entire book, in the entire series, she's built up to be this amazing character who's seriously supposed to change the foundations of the Scythedom. She's supposed to change the entire world. Even the Thunderhead told her, like, basically these characters were supposed to change everything. And you think that she would, but she doesn't. She just leaves in the end. She just leaves because Rowan's with her, you know? And I think that really ruins the character, like, entirely. Like, she was built up to be so great, and she just gives up immediately. Like, as soon as she gets the actual chance to give up, she gives up. And that's really disappointing. When it comes to Rowan, I really didn't have too much of a problem with him. I actually thought that his entire little murder spree freaking Batman vigilante nonsense was actually really cool, and I was interested in that. Even in Thunderhead, when he was kidnapped by Goddard, I still like really cared, and I loved where it was going, where they were going with it. But in the Toll, it became too much. I didn't like the fact that he was captured by like 15 different people. His entire character was wasted. He didn't do anything. He was simply just everyone's. He was either being a slave to some person or just a prisoner to another, and he didn't do anything until the end. And even in the end, it was the end, so there was nothing for him to do. He just simply, like, the only choice that he actually makes himself is to allow himself to be dragged onto the spaceship by Citra because he loves her for some reason. Alright, so Grayson Tolliver. I didn't care too much for this character in the Thunderhead. He was kind of just there. Like, I kind of liked him, but I didn't really care. But in the Toll, in the third book, he became really cool. I really liked how he went from being some undercover greaser to being a literal prophet, and everything about him became so interesting. The fact that he was the only one who could communicate with the Thunderhead, the fact that he basically led an entire religion. I loved all of it, and I honestly got mad whenever we switched to Rowan and Citra, because those parts honestly kind of bored me, and I couldn't wait until we can get back to blanked out for a second there. Yeah, Grayson. I liked all of the side characters, but the only one I'm going to talk about is Jerry, because Jerry was just really cool to me. Citra almost fell in love with him. Grayson basically fell in love with them. The Thunderhead literally wanted to be them at one point. Everything about Jerry was just cool. Like the entire time, like I almost fell in love with Jerry, and I'm straight. So the fact that I was in love with him just had to speak volumes of the fact of how cool and charming this person is, and the entire fact that their gender is determined by, well, at the end of the book, it's determined by whether they're at land or at sea. Made it like really interesting to seeing the constant switch, but it also not being like the actual main part of the character. It was only like one of the running parts, but it wasn't something that like dictated it, and I actually thought that was just a really cool character development for it. Alright, so let's talk about plot. When it comes to the plot of the first book of Scythe, I actually really enjoyed it. I really liked the plot. I liked the entire concept of having them fight against each other in a way, well, compete against each other to see who would live and who would die and who would become a Scythe. And it was very interesting going to the points of Citra, where she went with Scythe Curry, where she represented all the good in Scythe, basically representing this very calm, peaceful nature, like the way that Scythes should be. And then going all the way where Rowan went to Goddard, where he was essentially went to like the evil side of Scythes, like the more darker path. And it was very interesting to essentially see how that all goes down and to switch sides of it continuously. The Thunderhead was pretty cool. This is the book 2, I mean, Thunderhead. I like the fact that Citra tried to... They both tried to change the world in their own different ways. Citra tried to do it very legally, while Rowan tried to do it very illegally, like a vigilante. And I honestly thought that was cool. I think that the plot dragged on a lot more than it should have, but I also still thought that it was cool. When it comes to book 3, The Toll, I thought it was really boring. Nothing happened for like 1/3 of the book. Citra is doing moon research that doesn't lead to anything important. Rowan is just captured by like 15 different people. They're not doing anything, and the only saving grace of it was Grayson Tolliver, where, as I said before, he becomes like a whole prophet. He becomes a Toll, and he basically becomes the crutch of this book with his entire dynamic, but with the Thunderhead. He's like the only interesting thing about the book. And even with him, I guess his ending wasn't all that great. But, the book was decent, but for the most part, it was boring because all the characters that we loved weren't doing anything. When it comes to the conclusions of these books, I thought Scythe had a very good ending. I thought Thunderhead had an even better ending. In fact, I think it's one of like the best. It's really the best part of Thunderhead. One of the best parts that really made Thunderhead actually enjoyable. When it comes to the ending of these books, Scythe had a good ending. I thought that Thunderhead had an even better ending. And I think it was really like one of the best parts of the entire book, or I guess even in all reality the entire series. When it comes to the ending of book 3, The Toll, I did not like it at all. I honestly hated it. Like I said before with Citra, I don't like the fact that she just runs away into outer space. It makes sense for Rowan though. I honestly do understand Rowan going in outer space, because during all of the events throughout all through the books, he has not had a single enjoyable experience. The only enjoyable experience he's had has been with Citra in the beginning. But besides that, everything else sucks for him. Everyone hates him. Everyone thinks he's a criminal. He's always being imprisoned, always being captured. He isn't safe on Earth. So in Citra, the only thing that makes him happy says that she's leaving. I can see why he's going with her. The whole spaceship thing didn't make any sense to me. It felt random. I understand that it had a lot of foreshadowing throughout the entire book. Throughout all three books, it had foreshadowing. We based it was always leading up to it, but I just didn't understand why that was the actual end game of it all. It just seemed unnatural. Like the Thunderhead's big plan to save the world was to send Tonists into outer space to colonize other planets. Like I just didn't I didn't get it. I didn't understand why any of it was happening. And maybe that could just be me. And if it is me, then someone tell me in the comments. Like, just say if it did make sense to them, but I just didn't get it. Oh my gosh, and let's talk about Sister Astrid. This isn't going to be a critique or anything, but this is just personally, I hated the part with Sister Astrid at the end, because they left her out there for over 1,600 years to essentially, I don't even know. They left it too open-ended. I don't know if she's dead. I don't know if she lived. I don't know if she became a prophet or some kind of legendary figure for the Tonist, or if they forgot about her. I feel like he left it way too open-ended, and I really hated that. Again, this isn't like a crazy critique or anything. This is just a personal opinion. I'm pretty sure that Neil Shusterman knew what he was trying to do with this. I know this was very intentional, whatever he was trying to do with this, to make us feel a certain way. But I have to call it a sin, because I need to be irrational real quick and call this a sin of the book, because it made me way too sad to think about. And let's move on to Goddard. I did not like Goddard's end. I thought that it just wasn't satisfying, because Citra spends all of book 3 doing so much research to take him down, and it does nothing to take him down. Like, it does something for like the people to be like, oh, we don't like him anymore. But that has nothing to do with it. Like, do you think that in the end the world would try to like face him and try to take him down? But no, he goes down because he gets stabbed in the back by Scythe Rand. And I don't mind that he got taken down violently, but the fact that like Citra and Rowan had nothing to do with it. Like, they didn't even try. Like, even if Scythe Rand was going to be the one to land the killing blow, Citra and Rowan should have been the ones to like basically fight him off and get him to the point where she could stab him in the back and just easily kill him. And it felt like Scythe Rand just stole their entire kill. Like, everything they worked for, everything was just vanished because of that kill. Like, he literally lost at the hands of Rand, and the main characters didn't help with that at all. And finally, when it comes to the last scenes, where with the Scythe dying and Rowan and Citra going to outer space and meeting like 100 years later, I actually like those scenes. I actually didn't mind them too well. And I know a lot of people say that Rowan and Citra should have died, because that's basically what the themes of the entire series has been telling us that should have happened. Like, they basically should have died. It would have been a perfect ending. But me personally, I did not want them to die, because these kids have been going through the ringer, and I just wanted to see them win. Even though I did not care about the relationship, I still just wanted to see these kids win. I wanted to see them just be together in the end and just be happy. And after everything they go through, to see that one final ending where they live happily together on another peaceful paradise planet, I think it's deserved. And with that, I basically had nothing else to say about this series. That ends my review/rant. And yeah, if you like the content that you're seeing here, then please subscribe, or like the video, or whatever you want to do, or not, so you can see more of stuff like this, or just say if you would like to see more book reviews and stuff. And yeah, that's all I have to say. See ya.